You do, Bozic. Going the Goat House is back with our second free agency signing grades video of the day. Several more of these to come. If you didn't see the first one, go check it out after this video. Kirk Cousins, Saquon Barkley, other running backs in that video. Some splash signings to go over in this one as well. We're giving out our first A+ in this video, so excited. Instant news and takes on our Twitter. Make sure you follow us there. Almost at 100K here. Appreciate you guys' support very much. Easy A to start. I'm going to give the Colts an A for bringing back Grover Stewart, one of the better nose tackles in football, one of the better run stoppers. I think that was very evident during the year when he was suspended. Look at the Colts' run defense with and without him. Big factor for them. Thought maybe you'd get a little bit more in $13 million per year. Solid deal for Indy. Splash signing from Carolina. Definitely one of the better offensive line free agents, one of the better free agents in general, maybe Robert Hunt. Because his upside, he's starting to play good football. His best football is definitely ahead of him. Carolina gets him to plug into that right guard spot like you would think. And I like that. Bryce Young could scramble a little bit. When he's going to scramble, more of the time he's going to go right. So you have Taylor Moton, Robert Hunt out there. Hunt actually got some reps in college at tackle as well. So, if you have to put him there, maybe Ikwanu's not working out. I'd imagine Moton continues to work out, but it is a lot of money. $20 million is tackle money, really. It's top tier guard money. So it's a significant amount for a guard. And I know the Panthers offensive line struggled last year. Maybe, and I'm not saying, I gave it a B-, so I'm not saying it's bad, but maybe the new staff's overreacting a little bit. I think mainly the offensive line was struggling because how it was coached. I thought it was actually better than expected the year before that, believe it or not, even though it did need to be better. So it's a bit more than expected for Hunt. But I like Robert Hunt. I like his upside. I really liked him out of Louisiana. And again, the specific part of them helping that specifically that right side of the line, which is very important for Bryce Young. I know the blind side is important too for pass protection, but they're going to try to get him outside more, on the rollout. So I think this is huge for that. And again, I think his best football is ahead of him. Give it a B-. It's a lot of money, but it's a good player. I like the fit as well. Another B-, kind of in the same category. Xavier McKinney, which I had going to the Packers because I like the fit. The Packers badly needed a safety. This is today's style safety. Like, he can do everything. He can play in the box. He can play strong, free. Whatever, he's not going to be an insane playmaker in the back end, but he can do everything. So that's kind of today's style safety, which got him paid $17 million per year. And some of these deals are max value, some not. It all matters. Base value matters. Max value matters. What they possibly can earn matters. Yeah, so it's a tough one because $17 million is elite safety money. Now, McKinney's not an elite safety. He's good. Again, he fits today's era. So it does feel like a little bit of an overpay. I was originally going to go C+. I just like the fit so much. The Packers, badly need a safety. McKinney is definitely an up-and-comer here. He's been playing really good football. He's got a lot of good football ahead of him. Love the fit. Let's see what's going on now. Bucks are trading Carlton Davis to the Lions. Thought that was a possibility, so there you have it. That's a big splash move. But McKinney's a good football player. It's a good football player. He's getting paid in that elite range though, so a lot of expectations here. So that kind of kept it from being a better grade. I was originally given a C+ because the $17 million, you're putting him in the conversation of Winfield and Jesse Bates. Different player than those guys, sorta. Definitely different than Jesse Bates, but a unique player, a very good player. So I give it a B- here. And not done with the Packers. How about Josh Jacobs? I think this is actually the biggest surprise of the day. What's going to be talked about is Kirk Cousins, Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles, Cousins to the Falcons, and I feel like that's what's being talked about. Maybe some of the pass rushers, the offensive linemen, where they're getting paid. But I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, today was the Packers with getting Josh Jacobs and then cutting Aaron Jones, a key piece of the Packers organization for some time, and he lit it up his whole career in Green Bay, but down the stretch in the playoffs last year. But you do get younger and probably better with Josh Jacobs. I think that was the biggest story today. And it comes out 4-year, $48 million. Yeah, maybe 4 years a little lengthy for running backs. Sometimes teams regret that down the line, but the Packers usually pack it up front, so they they kind of guarantee things up front. They're not guaranteeing long term. So that's kind of the way they do things. It kind of makes sense. Like, if you're going to do it 4 years, then do it that way. The guaranteed money is actually, not as much as you would think. Actually less than DeAndre Swift got to the Bears, a lot less than Saquon got to the Giants. So I think with running backs, you have to look at it a little differently than just 4-year, $48 million, or just an average of $12 million per year, which Jacobs could be one of the better running backs in football, especially on the Packers. With that offensive line, the way it's coached, they value the running back as well. It's tough to see them have Aaron Jones go, but Josh Jacobs going to light it up in Green Bay. He's going to be a hell of a running back in Green Bay, no doubt about it. So it's 4 years. It's expensive for a running back. You could have kept Aaron Jones, saved your money here, put that towards McKinney. It's made some other signings. They lost Runyon, so you could put it that way. So it's hard to give it like an A range. It's hard to give running backs an A range unless it's possible. But I also like the guarantees. I like the fit. It's just weird, no Aaron Jones, but Josh Jacobs in the Green Bay. We were not expecting that today. But overall, I think that's actually a pretty good contract. I know first glance, maybe you would disagree, but if you really sit down and look at it, I think it's pretty decent. So Packers making some splash moves. Gardner Minche went to the Raiders. There was some rumors about Justin Fields going there, but just talk. Yeah, I never really saw the fit, reuniting with Getsy. So they get Minshew, so it'll be Minshew versus O'Connell for now, maybe a draft pick, 2-year, $25 million. I mean, for a guy that won games last year, a guy with starting experience, a guy that's not bad at all, he can start. $12.5 million per year is pretty solid. It almost wants me to put it in the A range, but what bumps it down a little bit is just the idea of, like, when you're signing Gardner Minshew, you're not going like, yes, we are signing him. He's going to be our guy. That's definitely our guy long term. That, all of that is really not the case. You're signing him for the hope. Like, what are you hoping for? Now, you're hoping he plays great, but what the hopes are, yes, it's kind of the bridge guy for now, and he's a pretty good bridge guy. So it's something, you can't really get insanely excited about when it comes to the grade. But overall, in terms of value, I think it's pretty solid. Right now, he's the starter. He could do some damage. So that's where I was at with that one. I had a B+. Next, we got Gino Stone going to the Bengals. So that was a little bit of a surprise because they have a couple safeties, the young safeties there. But they add Gino Stone, who had a pretty productive year, even though he didn't, get the starter snaps, even though he got a decent amount of snaps. But for the Ravens, so he stays in the division, goes to the Bengals. 2-year, $15 million. I thought there was a shot he would get overpaid just based on his production, and the Ravens get the most out of their guys, and he's been put in a good situation. So I didn't want somebody to base things off, but like just think he's automatically going to do that again because he did it with the Ravens, and he's going to get all those interceptions. So I was a little worried somebody would overpay him. This is not that. I think the Bengals did a really good job at $7.5 million. Also, what do you factor in? Like I said, the Ravens got the most out of him this last year because Mike McDonald really mixed up the coverage, a lot more zone coverage than they did in the past. And they gave different looks, especially with their safeties. They're using Kyle Hamilton in different spots. They have Marcus Williams for the back end. Stone could do a mixture of things as well. The Bengals do the same thing. Lou Anarumo is one of the smarter defensive coaches in football. Really good with zone. They mix up their zone. Gino Stone is very solid in the zone. He was a hell of a college prospect at Iowa. The issue was he was only zone. Like, teams want to see him play man. That's why it was weird that the Ravens got him when they ran a ton of man, but now under Mike McDonald, they ran a lot more zone on top of the, man too, but, and he thrived in that. So I actually love this fit. I didn't think it would happen because I thought maybe they just stick with Battle and Dax Hill, but again, those are, Dax Hill is a unique type of defensive back, so you could definitely use another safety in there. So this is one of those things, like, after it happens, you realize, like, yeah, that's a pretty damn good fit. So I like that one. 2-year, $15 million, and our first A+ is coming. It is Frankie Lau to the Commanders. Now, in the first video, there was a couple grades we got with the Commanders, and I didn't like those signings. I like Dorrance Armstrong. I didn't like the value they put on him. Too much to Tyler Biadasz. I love this signing. I'm surprised he didn't go back to the Commanders. He worked so well into the Panthers. He worked so well in Evero's defense, and they're about to trade Brian Burns. So your two key pieces gone. It's just surprising to me. And he gets a 3-year, $36 million deal, and that's actually max value, which max value matters, but max value $12 million per year on Frankie Lau. This is one of the more underrated players in football. He is a very unique linebacker. He can cover, he can blitz, he can stop the run. I think he does coverage and pursuit and blitzing those are probably the best parts to his game. But imagine him with Dan Quinn, the linebacker that the Commanders haven't had, but maybe that Dan Quinn hasn't had, but a guy that has that blitz factor that you can rush a bit. It's going to be fun with Dan Quinn. I'm excited about this one. I'm surprised. I could have said the Commanders were possibly a landing spot for him, but I really thought he was going to go back to the Panthers. So I love this. $12 million max value. I think that's really solid with the cap increase. The linebackers that can cover, that they're athletic, values going up. I love this for the Commanders. This is the best signing of free agency so far. It's early, but a lot of guys have signed. Absolutely love that. So we have the spreadsheet link pinned in the comments on Twitter as well. Video 1 grades are up there. So the smaller signings are on here as well. The blank ones, I either don't have the details yet, or I still have to plug in I was kind of keeping it a surprise, the guys that were in this video. But yeah, the Vikings are some weird random signings today. Couple Texans guys. Texans standout. They played Cashman, 3-year, $25.5 million. Yeah, he was solid last year, but the Texans did think, like, that was kind of a thing. Like, we still got to upgrade the linebackers. D'Amico Ryan's defense gets the most out of them. We still got to upgrade it. So the Vikings put him at $8.5 million. Like, he's a sleeper free agent, but that's more than I thought he would get. Flores obviously has a plan. It doesn't really feel like a Flores linebacker to me, but he knows what he's doing. I just thought a bit more than he should have got. I feel like the Vikings probably crushed teams on how much they offer. So I gave that one a C. I got a good young player from Minnesota, the Gophers. That was an interesting one, though. Okudah, I gave a B+. I mean, small deal. D'Amico Ryans could work with him, obviously. Sean Murphy-Bunting was a good signing for the Cardinals. I gave that one an A. Only $8.5 million per year for a solid, experienced corner. He played well with the Bucs in the earlier years, and they kind of switched up what coverage they were running, and then he moved on. He played all right for the Titans, so that was a pretty good value deal. Antonio Gibson, same thing, only $3.75 million per year for the Patriots. Very underrated pass-catching back. Ball security is the only thing with him. I think that's a really cheap deal as a solid back. Darnell Savage, B+ range, $7 million. Ryan Nielsen's a really good coach. Saw that in Atlanta, so I think you can kind of get the most out of him. Still a young, athletic, upside guy. Pretty solid signing. Danico Autry for the Texans. Texans, I thought, would be making more splash signings. Autry's very underrated. He's up there in age, but he's very underrated. Can move him around a bit. $10 million per year. I thought he'd end up being a steal, like a 1-year, like veteran, like surprisingly cheap veteran deal. So he ends up getting 10. I give it a B, though. I do like the fit. Singletary, 3 years, $16.5 million. So they save a lot of money going from Saquon Barkley to Singletary, the Giants, that is. But yeah, Singletary was good for the Texans. A lot of it's scheme. He doesn't really have that speed, that burst that I'm looking for. There's so many Texans run where I'm like, okay, the other running back or this running back, that running back probably would have been gone on that one. 3-year deal's interesting as well. Like, he's a good back, $5.5 million. I don't really have anything wrong with that value, but going from Barkley to Singletary, like, Singletary probably should be a high end too. 3 years, interesting. I gave it a C+. Bilal Nichols for they needed defensive tackles. I got 2. Nichols, $7 million. I gave it a B-. It's okay signing. Still waiting on some details like Gus Edwards. Duvernay is kind of a random one, speedy guy, gadget guy for Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. Leonard Floyd, $10 million per year for the 49ers. He should be somewhat productive there. Thought, starting to feel as they were clearing more money, they'd go for a little bit more of a splash signing. Give it a B+. Always waiting on Titans contract details. Justin Jones is an interesting one for the Cardinals. Yeah, they needed D-tackle help. I was not expecting him to get in the $10 million range. I thought, 2 former Bears here, Bilal Nichols, more recently with the Raiders, but then Justin Jones with the Bears. And Jones played all right for the Bears, but the Bears are a team that we need to upgrade interior defensive linemen, so that kind of gives you an idea, but he's solid. I just was not expecting him to be like a big sign, like $10 million per year. I thought, I probably would have guessed Nichols would have got a tiny bit more, like at $7 million. So because he has maybe a little more upside. So I thought it was a random one. They're acting like that's a little bigger than it is. So I gave it a C-. Greg Gaines back on a really cheap deal, A-. Will Dissly got less than Colby Parkinson. That was interesting. 3 year, $14 million. I think it's a pretty good value deal. He's got to stay healthy, but for Harbaugh over there. And Za'Darius Smith, I like Za'Darius Smith. He's definitely declined over the last couple of years, but I like him. Always been a fan. $11.75 million is pretty solid value for him. I thought maybe the Browns could upgrade. 2 years is interesting though. I wish it was like a 1 year 11 or a 1 year $13 million. I would like that better. So I'm a little surprised by the 2 years. So one part of it I want to go much higher in a B, but one part of it I'm like lower than that. So that's where we're kind of splitting the difference there. So my phone's blowing up like crazy, but this is video 2. This spreadsheet's definitely useful to kind of keep track. This year I added the video 1 guys were up there. And there's some guys that I'm going to have to remove from this video too and obviously put down. So link in the comments on Twitter. I supply all this stuff on Twitter. So check it out. Let me know your grades in the comments. We're with you with a bunch of these videos and more. Hopefully you join us. Check out our sponsors, GLD Shop, Liquid IV, Code GOAT. Links pinned in the comments, everything you're looking for. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.